All right, guys, we are live. This is Stone Guy 223. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We're still waiting on some people to hop in, but I wanted to start on time just for you, Tactical. So we'll get this rolling on and see where it takes us. So, like I said, I'm Stone Guy 223. Tonight we're going to be talking about body armor, and I titled it "Friend or Foe." A lot of advantages and potential disadvantages to body armor. Um, and right now we've got with us Gun Websites,
Hey,
and we've got Nathan's Armory.
I'm stand-in body armor model tonight, everybody. So
Yeah, so Nathan does have some body armor he's going to model for us, I guess, when it's appropriate. I guess first things first, I kind of wanted to give, because I'm hoping G-Webs will turn this into a podcast. So for everybody listening out there, I did kind of want to be a little boring while we're waiting for people to come in, and just kind of give you a breakdown of the different levels of body armor real quick, so you could have something to refer back to if necessary. But you've got level 1 body armor, which is usually like a 22 caliber, 1,400 feet or so, up to like a 38 special, um, 900 feet is consistent with like level 1 body armor. That's soft body armor.
I believe it's equivalent to a level jacket with maybe a book inside of it,
Right.
or a
Well,
flask.
we'll get to that, because that was another thing later on. But I'm glad you brought that up already. So that's level 1. Then level 2, or level 2A, is the most common body armor worn. Level 2 is 9mm up to like a 357 Magnum. Typical 9mm, is 1,100 feet per second. And then your 357 Magnum is going to be pushing 1,300 feet per second. So, I guess level 2A, I'm assuming from my research that the A is a step below a straight up level 2, because in the sequence that I'm looking at, it goes level 2A and then level 2, because it shows a higher velocity, same general caliber, 9mm and 357, but it goes from from a 12 to 1,300 feet up to about 1,500 feet for the 357 Magnum. And then level 3A is the highest level of soft body armor. And like I said, every level 1 through level 3A, is all soft body armor. That's an all soft body armor designation. And that'll go, even the level 3A is 9mm up to 44 Magnum, is what they're advertising. That'll stop.
that's what you see on TV when they show police on TV. That's typically what they're wearing, right?
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much standard issue from my experience, is the 3A stuff. And then level 3, which is a hard plate style of armor, and that's when you get into the, like an Ar500 type stuff, or just a what do they call it, like a ballistic plate, or but that's going to stop something from like a 7.62 by 51, which is a 308, upwards of 28 to 2,900 feet per second. And then your level 4, which is the hardest plate, it would defeat armor-piercing projectiles, and that's rated for up to like a 30-06, all the way up to 3,000 feet per second. So That's kind of a general breakdown. Obviously, you could Google it and maybe find, varying, slight discrepancies, but that's pretty much a general overview of the different levels. So now that that's out of the way, hopefully you guys are not asleep yet, but so right off, so kind of going back to the title, I titled it "Friend or Foe," because that was kind of a topic of discussion that got brought up last night. And for some of you guys that were on or watching last night, this might be a little repetitious, but I am a proponent of body armor. I find that the weight is not really that big of a hindrance, in my opinion, versus the security and the peace of mind that you get from wearing, body armor. So, and I did a little research today, and I got some stats, some different weight comparisons, and different things like that that we'll kind of throw in.
It also really depends on your profession and job and other things, and whether or not, I mean, it's a no-brainer for a cop or law enforcement. Basically, you guys have to respond to people who have guns who are criminals. Y'all need it, period. It's a no-brainer for infantrymen in combat. They get shot at by the enemy with rifles. They need the rifle-proof stuff. I mean, those are no-brainers.
Well, yeah, obviously, some for law enforcement, some departments do mandate that you wear body armor. Some of it is optional. It's up to the officer's discretion as to whether he chooses to wear body armor or not. But
see, now that's one thing. This is just my opinion. I think if you're a police officer and you work for a department, okay, it should be your department that says you have to wear this. This is part of your job, and the reason is it protects you and you protect the public. So no matter how invincible or crazy you think or ass backwards your opinion might be, you need to wear this stuff. It's like seatbelts. It's like, what would you think if a cop never wore a seatbelt? Because he said, one time I got in a car crash and I was thrown free when the car rolled and I was perfectly fine, so I don't wear a seatbelt now.
oh yeah, hey, I mean, I see your point. I mean, to me, there again, obviously it's a no-brainer because you're in a more you're put in more volatile situations every day. Um, aside from, I don't want to say civilian, but we'll just say civilian for sake of conversation. But with a law enforcement officer versus a civilian, that's not going to encounter as many potentially deadly situations. You could argue the fact of kind of like G Webb said last night. He said for the most part, he said people that buy body armor as a civilian generally buy it for the cool factor and wear it once or twice, and then it sits in their closet the rest of their life.
I can understand that, but I mean, again, kind of as a prepper type individual, I have two different types of body armor, and they're for different situations. And I'll wait a little while till we get a little more into it to tell you a story of when I wore my soft armor for a while. But I mean, it's situational for me, not a job requirement like for a cop or something. But again, that story I told about the car, the reason I mentioned that is because one of my old friends who was a captain in the Army didn't wear a seatbelt because when he was a teenager, he was thrown out of a car and was fine. So he doesn't wear a seatbelt. And I'm like, you're an idiot. But he was a captain in the Army for 20 years. Or 16, he got out early.
Right. Well, that's a good thing that you brought up prepping, because we'll go ahead and hit that real quick, because that was kind of another thing. It's as you might not wear it every day. Obviously, there wouldn't be might not be practical in a lot of situations to, definitely not a probably hard plate, but even soft body armor, even the thinnest, most kind of concealable or a body armor that's really not noticeable. That might not be practical for you to wear every day. But I kind of lean towards the prepping aspect of body armor, and the sense of you might as well buy it and have it in case of a situation arises. You would be able to, you would have that at your disposal, versus, you know, I'll try to say here, how can I phrase this? Like, obviously, I think for everyday carry, so to speak, an everyday carry, or wearing it every day is probably not going to be something you would do. But if you had it in a true shit hit the fan situation, you would have, I think, that much more advantage over someone that didn't have it. And if not an actual advantage, you would have peace of mind. I think that would give you advantage. There's a lot to be said for the mental game. Just knowing that you have that extra layer of protection, I think, gives you the ability mentally to maybe overcome or go through obstacles that you would be timid to encounter otherwise.
I like it because if I ever did get into a situation where I could put on the body armor and I knew there was imminent danger from another individual or individuals with firearms, it would give me a good chance to not crap in my pants. Just having the body armor on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It kind of plays to your mental state of, your state of mind mentally for, I don't know.
A lot of people practice at the range and think, with their cognitive mind that if this goes down, if I have an intruder in my house or, there's civil unrest, I'll be able to handle it because this is what I'll do in this situation, right? And the truth is, if you've never been in that situation, all the rules fly out the window. And something like body armor can really help because you can be scared and go, you know what? I at least have a chest plate on, and these guys don't, and I have an AR-15, and they don't. They have some other, pistol or something. I have the advantage, even though I'm outnumbered, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, that's just, it gives you, not to be like Superman or to feel you're invincible, but it definitely gives you that peace of mind to know that, look, my vitals are covered. Granted, I could still get shot in the head. I could still get nicked in the femoral artery in my leg or something like that. But for the most part, center mass, my vitals are covered, and I have that peace of mind and that, a little bit of a feeling of invincibility, with body armor on.
Yeah, I
And
mean, if you think about it, if you look at a chunk of body armor, it's bigger than your head, and it's covering your vitals. And let's be honest, when we go to the range and shoot a silhouette, what do we aim at?
Oh yeah, center mass.
Aim right at the center. That's what we're trying to hit. So yeah, you might get hit in the arm, and you might get hit in the leg, and you might get hit other unpleasant places, and you might get hit in the head. But they're going to instinctively, when they're scared because you have a firearm too, they're going to shoot at the biggest target, which is your chest. So if they're a good shot, hopefully they get you in a plate and not elsewhere.
Right. And realistically speaking, a head is an extremely small and difficult hard target to hit when you're moving.
Oh yeah. Oh, headshots when you're moving are. I'm sorry. For those of you who don't know, I play airsoft, and hitting someone in the head is very hard. Hitting them in the body is much easier. That's like paintball.
So G-Web, jump in here, man, because you kind of had a different stance on it, from
Well,
my understanding. So
yesterday we were talking about AR. You guys were talking about AR500 when I jumped into it. So if we're going to talk about wearing armor, that's all kinds of different ways of wearing armor. If you guys are now talking about 2A soft armor, I'm more down with recommending that if your everything else is taken away, squared away. I don't think it's a necessity like in the top 10. I don't know where it would be in my priority list, but somewhere after, a lot of other things. So if you've got enough cash or whatever, or you've got a good deal on it, or you've got some access to it, then fine. But it's not something that I'm going to tell people that they need to go out of their way to try to find it. For one, it's kind of hard to find. Not too many places sell it. I don't know if we're going to talk about legalities of it, but you don't find it at necessarily every store, and a lot of stores that do have it are usually police supply, and they may not even sell it to non-sworn officers.
Yeah, you're right, G-Web. Sorry to cut in on you, but you're right. Different states have different rules as to ownership. Pretty much everyone universally, though, doesn't want felons to own it.
well,
No, it's not illegal
own it if
anywhere. It's just
well-
how much of a felony it is when you.
it is if you're a felon. Some states, if you're a felon, you cannot own body armor.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Texas is that way.
Yeah, Georgia's that way. I'm pretty sure.
I know that most states, if you do any kind of crime with body armor on, it's like every piece of body armor is another felony added to your list.
Right.
So if you have a front plate and a back plate, and who knows if they call the soft part another layer,
The trauma pad or whatever.
add more and more charges to it.
Do you want to do G-Web's list here on the side? Do you want to do that, G-Web's?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
do
that's
that.
just my notes, so that as you guys were talking, I was just making notes for myself.
Yeah, but let's do that in a second. But let's
Points.
let's go back to what G was saying, because he's correct. Last night we were about an hour and a half into a chat, and the armor got brought up, and I was kind of pushing towards the AR500 because of the fact that it's virtually indestructible. It doesn't have a shelf life like Kevlar. Kevlar fibers do have a shelf life. They do deteriorate over years. Proper storage is an issue with them. There's all sorts of issues with just straight up Kevlar type material. So anyway, I was pushing towards the AR500 plate, and that's, I think, where G had the biggest disagreement with the fact that.
Yeah, I'm no big fan of that plate stuff because it's way too heavy. But also, you shouldn't wear plates without some sort of soft backer, which is basically 2A body armor. So you can buy other type of backers, but wearing just a piece of metal against your T-shirt or your jacket or something is gonna hurt a lot. And it's gonna be spalling when it breaks and hits that armor, hits that piece of steel. And when we're saying AR500, we're talking a piece of hardened steel plate that's ideally curved at least once or twice, so that it shapes to your chest or your back a little bit, as opposed to just being a flat piece of metal, which would be kind of uncomfortable, to say the least, and might not even fit into a carrier. But when that gets hit, it's gonna, affect that steel. That energy's got to go somewhere, and steel is rigid, so it just absorbs that hit, and it comes out on the other side. And anyway, they recommend soft backers or a soft armor back to any type of plate,
right,
where ceramic, plastic, metal, whatever.
Right, and that's where your plate carrier. Not only your plate carrier is going to add a layer of protection, but some plate carriers have a built-in, what they call a trauma pad, kind of in there. Some of them are an add-on. You can get a trauma pad for, $30, $40, somewhere in that range.
Now, are you calling a trauma pad like what I'm calling a backer? Because I think of a trauma pad as a small index card size piece that you put over your actual like sternum or your heart.
Oh
That's
no, that would
designed to
be
like prevent a knife attack.
right. No, I
The
think we're
trauma
on the
plate.
same. Yeah, that's the trauma plate. The trauma pad
Okay.
is it's cut to the same dimensions as the actual
Okay, so
armor
like what
plate.
I'm calling a backer, so that you
Right,
have something soft behind the piece of metal. Okay.
right. So so I went and looked and I guess the biggest thing from what I could find, and here's a great site, and I know a couple of YouTube channels here recently have done reviews on this, but there's a site called Ar500 Armor.com, and this is just really really good company. And the cool thing about this stuff that I found, and they've got a couple different offerings, but they've got a .20 thickness, so I'm assuming that's inches, so a little less than a quarter-inch thick plate that's got a ballistic coating. It's called PaxCon. It's a division of Line-X. Everybody knows Line-X, like the spray in bed liners, that prevents the spall and fragmentation. So this plate and this plate's $85, so extremely affordable and can take multiple hits. I mean, literally hundreds of hits.
Hundreds?
Yeah, I mean they've.
I have AR500 stuff that's 3/4. Well, I'm not going to use my thickest stuff, but I've got rifle plates that are targets that are designed for shooting at. They're targets.
Yeah.
And you hit them, and it starts to soften them, and then you can pop holes in armor. I mean, with multiple hits, you start to get through them.
Yeah, I mean that is true. I mean that's true, but I guess
people
guess
think
we
I
should.
think especially people that haven't ever even used armor or nothing. You see it on TV and you think, oh, all armor stops all bullets all the time, and it ain't like that. It's insurance. It's helping you, but it's not magic, right?
And I guess I should have or put the caveat to that was for pistol rounds, rifle rounds, or
Oh, okay.
yeah, because they're showing a test where they shoot this thing what appears to be hundreds of times with
With a
9mm handguns, and the coating starts to fail and chip, peel off and shit, but the actual plate is.
Okay, I'll agree with you there. It'll last forever against a handgun.
Right. So, but yeah, rifle
smaller
rounds.
bullet by a factor of 10 or something.
Right. So, but anyway, so here's the comparison. I guess this is where ultimately the decision lay for most people is this this plate. It's a 10x12. It's a level 3. So it's rated for 308, up to a 308 at 2,800 feet per second. I'm sorry, this one's the .20. This is a quarter-inch. There's another one. So the quarter-inch. This is $85. It is 7.5 pounds. So 7.5 pounds is, I mean, that's a fair amount of weight, especially if you consider doing a front and back. So then you're looking at 15 pounds.
And to let you know, if you're going to get into this, I would seriously suggest doing front and back, because just having it on your front, it won't be counterbalanced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It
Good
really
point. It'll always be pulling down in the front of you or the back of you.
Yeah, it's miserable to wear. It sounds silly, but doubling the weight but balancing it out actually is more comfortable than just wearing one plate.
Right.
Not to mention, a lot of military people, I've heard them say, "Oh, I'm not going to be running away. I don't need the back plate," until they're surrounded and somebody shoots them in the back because they're shooting at someone in front of them.
And then to put it in perspective, you said it was 7 pounds. The ceramic plates are going to be like 4.
Well, and there you go. That's exactly what I was about to get to next, because that was the heaviest that I found, in a plate made for plate carriers, and these are curved. They're contoured, um, and it's 7.5 pounds. That's for the 1/4 inch. Then there's this one that's that's the .20, a little bit thinner. And this one is only 4.8 pounds. So, substantially less weight. And then I compared that to some soft nanotube stuff that was, and some ceramic. Now, just for comparison, an AR, they've got some stuff called carbon nanotube. It's a 3A soft body armor that'll stop up to a 44 Magnum. This stuff weighs 1 pound, soft, flexible armor. Well, then I looked at some ceramic rigs, and the ceramic, because ceramic's heavy, it's dense material, and the ceramic was between 4 and 6 pounds also, depending on the level and the thickness and whatnot, or if they had
The
different
sizes.
coating. Yeah, because
Small
typically,
and extra large or double extra large, I think.
right, like they had an 8x10 and a 10x12 is the standard for what I'm seeing most offerings. So there's 11x14, I guess, for the large, like someone like Cork or Edge. But the biggest, I don't know. To me, the ceramic is like 4 times the price. I could not find a ceramic rig setup for less than $400, or right at $400.
Stone Guy, can I speak to the ceramic real quick?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so back in the day, I found out about Ar500, but they didn't have the coating on the outside. It was all steel, and it was all, I think, 8 or 9 pounds for their plates. This was 2 years ago. And so they have the coating now, and they've found a way to make they've ramped up their business and made more advanced plate. And US Cav had a deal where I think it was maybe 120 for each plate, and then I was able to get a discount, but I had to have one of my military friends order it and get permission from his captain to be emailed. So basically, I couldn't get the stuff from US Cav. It had to be for your profession. So he had to buy it for me. And then, of course, there's nothing wrong with me having it or him buying it for me, to my knowledge. It's just they didn't want to sell it to civilians for fear it would fall into hands of somebody who do something bad with it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is
A lot of them
real hard
won't
to
sell
find
to
ceramic
civilians.
plates. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't sell ceramic to civilians. But I found a really great deal on it back then. And again, if I had to do it over again, I would probably go with Ar500 all the way around, because I did get 2 Ar500 side plates, because I couldn't find any ceramic side plates that were cheap. The chest plates were cheaper than the side plates for ceramic. I don't know why.
Because you can use side plates for your shoulders, and they break easier. They're cool.
Well, and the biggest thing,
So they're more rare.
the biggest thing to me is, ceramic is very fragile. I mean, very brittle, fragile stuff. And
you
once
don't
you
want to
take a
drop
shot,
it on cement.
if you drop it, or once you take a shot or two, the structural integrity of that ceramic armor is shot. And it's
but the characteristic of it also, it takes the bullet, and you don't get as many fragments up into your chin as you are with almost with the metal.
Again, the AR500, now that they're putting that coating on it, and I watched a bunch of videos on it, including Jaeger's latest, that coating on it really absorbs a lot of the spalding, and if it was inside a
plate carrier,
plate carrier with what's the material they make it out of? Not corduroy, but Cordova or
Canvas.
something.
Yeah, or
Cordura.
Cordura.
Cordura, yeah, that's it. With the combination of basically the Rhino liner and the Cordura combined, it would absorb quite a bit of the spalling and wouldn't hurt you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Unless
think
you got shot
nowadays,
a lot, but if you get shot 5 times in the chest plate or 10 times in the chest plate, you probably got bigger problems.
yeah, I think nowadays with technology, the AR500's come a long way from what it originally was.
It
With
was
the
they
coating.
literally, when I looked at them, they had just gone from just making steel targets to shoot to making plate armor to put in plate carriers, and they had not yet advanced to the liners and everything yet.
Right.
So they've come a long way in their manufacturing and their equipment.
Yeah. So that's a that's a big that's a big consideration. Is spalling is a big deal. Like I said, now I think with the different coatings, that's not as much of an issue as it used to be with just a straight raw AR500. Um, and I guess even now with the weight comparisons are getting where they're able to make the AR500 plate thinner with the coating and still get the level of protection desired and keep that weight down.
And it depends on what you're going to be doing.
Hold on, there's no testing at all either. So you guys are going off of catalog specs. There's no, UL laboratories, testing these to give you like this one's 3A, this one's 3, this one's 2A. You're just going off of their, YouTube video tests or their website.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
YouTube video. But at least they are testing it and shooting it and kind of giving you a.
They send these chunks of armor out to Jaeger and other people who they send them an extra chunk of armor, and they're like, yeah, shoot it, make a YouTube video. They're not scared to let you take that. They know that their steel will stand up to what they say it'll stand up to.
Yeah, I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying, keep in mind that this is all coming from people that are selling it to you. And
Yeah.
I mean, you've got it, so Nate's like worn it, but when you're saying like, oh, it's only a couple of 2 pounds more on each side or 3 pounds more on each side, strap 3 pounds to your chest and to your back, walk around with it.
I mean,
it makes a big, big, big difference. You do not want to wear it.
No. I was going to say that basically this armor and stuff, wearing the plate, not wearing the soft body armor, but wearing the plate armor, that is something that basically you have, and you have it on hand for when you don't really have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not, I'm going to go to the range all day, so I'm going to wear my plate out there. You're not going to do that very long. It's heavy. I mean, literally, if anyone has kids and has had a 20-pound kid and carried them around for a while, you know what it's like. It sucks.
Well, okay. While we're on that, I mean, let's go with the
Now, granted,
lowest.
it's more comfortable because it's strapped to you, unlike a kid. Sorry,
What-
I mean, think about if you go back.
Well, let's go with the lowest weight that I've been able to find, and we'll just round it. We'll round it up. With actual plate armor.
Oh wait, hold on. We don't have to guess or anything. Hold on.
No, I mean I'm looking at it like the lightest one I've been able to find was 4.5 pounds. Okay, so you're looking at 9 pounds. A typical plate carrier is a pound. An unloaded plate carrier is about a pound. So you're looking at 10 pounds. So you're talking 10 pounds of extra weight. How important is that 10 pounds of extra weight versus like I said, the security, the peace of mind, and the protection that it offers you?
Here's where I'm going to go because, I'm not being paid by the armor manufacturers or nothing. So if you're seriously going to be in a situation where you need to wear armor, and you seriously need to wear armor, then why not throw a couple more bucks out there and wear armor that's at least a little bit easier to deal with if you're really going to be wearing armor. And if you're, again, just buying it to put it in the closet, I guess, yeah, go for the cheapest stuff. But I mean, if you foresee a situation where you need to put armor on, then why not wear armor that's designed to be worn and not something that's designed to be an economical,
Well, what do you mean? What do you
alternative
mean
to
by
it.
that? What do you mean by that? Designed to be worn.
I mean that they created ceramic plates because dudes that were wearing armor were like, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible. Make this lighter, make this more easier to deal with.
Yeah, the
Ceramic
soldiers
plates have
have
like
to
3
wear it
curves to
day in
them.
and day out. Yeah.
Yeah, these are guys that they still suffer, they still hate it, but at least it's designed to be worn. And if you're gonna be wearing it every day, look at the guys who do wear this stuff every day. The guys not that are sitting in a Humvee where their whole job is to sit in a Humvee. And I'm not saying their job isn't difficult. I'm saying look at the guys that run around, the guys that are jumping out of helicopters with it and running around and kicking down doors. Those guys aren't wearing huge, heavy body armor things. They're wearing a little plate that covers their vitals, and then maybe something on their back to, like, as you said before, to counterbalance the weight of that front plate, and then to cover your vitals in the back. But most of the time, they're stripping their armor down now to where it's just a vital plate. And some guys are wearing like smalls, just little carriers that carry, that also act as chest rigs, so that they can, have all their maneuverability on their sides and stuff. So that, like we were talking yesterday, you can get out of the way of getting shot at. Unless your job is to sit in a turret and get, take rounds, then yeah, put whatever heavy stuff you want on, because you're going to want to take as many rounds as possible. But if you're seriously going to be thinking that your whole purpose of thinking about armor is to wear armor, then look at the guys that wear armor. Cops wear armor all the time, right? Do they wear plates? Yeah, I mean, you were talking earlier that all cops should have to wear armor. Maybe soft armor, but come on, the number of times you need plate compared to the number of times in, just of time in a day that you're on the clock, that's a lot of time to be wearing armor. You would literally be falling apart. Our bodies are barely able to hold up our own skeleton, and whatever gear you're carrying, that's already pressure on your back. Now you're going to put armor on and wear it all the time. Again, if you're in that mindset, you're going to need armor. Get armor that's lightest weight as possible.
Okay, let me put this in some perspective. My armor here has 2 ceramic has a chest and back plate ceramic. It has 2 chunks of steel that go in the side that are Ar500 that are just the side plates for the side. I just weighed it with my luggage wear. It's 27 pounds.
And that's with ceramics.
That's with, and I have the heavier
your
ceramic.
big plates are ceramic.
I have the 2 big plates are the same weight pretty much as the Ar500 is now.
They're like, hey, let's throw another couple
It's
of pounds
about
on there.
7.5. It's 7.5 pound plates.
No,
I'm wearing. It's not the military 5 pound plates.
But you said how you had to go about getting them, so it's not like everybody can
Right,
just
it was a
go
pain
to
to
a
get
local
them, and
surplus
that's
store
why I
and buy
said.
them. But you can buy them if you look around and start asking around. You can find them.
And I just looked on US Cav a minute ago, and like the cheapest ones are like $230. So you're talking about front and back $500 almost, with if you had tax. But what I'm trying to say is, for the price, Ar500 has a deal where they'll sell you a front and back and a plate carrier for $175, with no add-ons on the plate carrier, just the straight plate carrier and the 2 pieces of steel. So for $175, you can get front and back plate armor that'll stop 308. Okay, it has the anti-spalling capabilities. To get the same setup, pretty much you're looking at $500 to $600 with going with ceramics. You're talking 1/3 the price. And for something you're not going to wear except in a SHIT, hits the fan situation, I'm not going to spend $600 for something that may never happen.
Well, and the biggest thing, I think, because you kind of said, why not get something that's designed, and I think nowadays they are designing the Ar500 to be worn because they have lightened it.
Hold on, it is the same cut as the ceramic plates.
That's what I'm saying. They've lightened it so much,
and they have the shooter's cut.
That so they've lightened it so much that they've made it as light as a ceramic, but that will withstand way more hits than the ceramic. And it's much cheaper. So in my opinion, you're getting 3 times the benefit of a ceramic plate because it's as light as a ceramic and it takes more hits.
It's
Not as
it's
fragile.
comparing it to what the military wears. The military, their front and back plates are 4.7 pounds, and AR500 is 7.5. So you're adding into the mix about 3 more pounds of weight front and back, so an additional 6 pounds if you're just wearing a front and back plate. So, with plate carrier, now you're up to, instead of a 12-pound, you're up to a 18-pound carrier or something. I don't know. I'd have to do the math.
Well, okay. You were referencing the military plates.
Aren't
I
they
know, for example. Hello.
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
can hear you.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. You guys were referencing the military plates. Those are probably the old original SAPI plates, the black plates. They have the ESAPI plates, which are a pound heavier a piece, and they are trying desperately to push out what's known as the X-SAPI plate, which is going to probably be an additional pound a piece. So your weight differentials that you're talking about on the current hardware is a little closer than people think. It's not. It's still in favor of ceramics, but it's not quite as drastic as it used to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The difference between AR500 plates you can get now and the ceramic plates are negligible. I mean, you're not getting that much advantage of weight.
It's not negligible in the sense that if I had to wear it every day, it would be way worth spending $600 to get the ceramic.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know
You're
what I'm
not
saying? If it's
you're
not,
literally only talking about 1 pound difference.
no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, it is,
1
dude. I'm
pound.
looking at ceramic plates that weigh 4 pounds or 5 pounds, and I'm looking at AR500 plates that weigh 4 or 5 pounds. So they're
Well,
exactly
before
the same
5,
weight.
hold on, Stone Guy. You need to compare the same bullet resistance because when
Yeah,
you're
they're all level 3A, is what or level 3. Sorry, not 3A. They're both level 3. Ceramic versus AR500. I'm able to find AR500 plates the exact same weight as a ceramic plate.
I'm on AR500's website, and the only ones I'm finding around the lightness you're suggesting say it'll stop a 44 Magnum and a 357.
Look at their rifle rounds, a .2, .20. And that's the AR500, but then you got to cross-reference that to a ceramic, and that's what I'm saying. There's a pound, maybe 2 at the most, and that, to me, that's not that much more weight for the amount of money you're saving for one, and the fact that AR500 plate can take way more hits than a ceramic plate.
Okay, I did just find a 5-pound AR500 that'll stop a 308. It's 8x10. Let me go and see a price comparison real quick on a ceramic.
What, you think I was lying to you?
I didn't think you were lying. I just thought you were wrong, maybe.
But I don't know. Ultimately, I think if we're gonna prep for ammo and magazines and everything like that, I think we should also prep for something that maybe is a little far fetched, but might as well have it while you can get it and save it for that rainy day. What do you think there, Huck?
Another thing I'm bearing.
No, go ahead, Scotty. We can't hear you if you're saying anything.
Here, hold on. No.
No.
Whereas steel does not. Hello?
You're breaking up a little, brother. We couldn't hear everything you said. Yeah, I could hear you, but you broke up on that first part.
Oh, okay.
I think he's saying that the
No, what I
ceramics
was
will have
saying.
a shelf life.
Yep, ceramics have a shelf life of approximately 7 years, whereas steel does not. So.
Now, I knew that the Kevlar and the different fibers had a shelf life, but I didn't realize that ceramic had a shelf life. Why is that?
Same issues, the degradation of the materials over time.
I guess you think of ceramic
Environmental factors.
like a toilet is ceramic, right? Or that's
They're
porcelain.
ceramic, but they're not really. I mean, when you look at them once they're shot, they're ceramic layers with Kevlar, and they're just a supplement. They're like a soft armor on steroids with some ceramic
So it's
materials,
like,
but it's not like a piece of toilet or anything.
oh, okay, or a coffee cup.
When you
Okay.
look at it, it looks like fiberglass. It looks like fiberglass with a rubber edge.
Alright. Have you seen that new they call it dragon skin, where it's like a
No,
little.
I'm no fan of dragon skin. Dragon skin melts in the heat and falls apart. So
Seriously?
yeah, that's why it never was used anywhere ever, except for in TV shows.
Ah, that was more of a novelty because it was so.
I
I
think
guess
it had
it's.
a neat concept, but just materials aren't there yet to make it happen.
And then there's this new stuff on the market, and I forget the name. I meant to look this up and have all the information, but I forgot. But it's I watched an A&E or Discovery special on it or something. But they've done this new thing where they're able to they impregnate the Kevlar or the other fiber. It starts with a D. I can't think of the name of it right now. Um,
Dyneema?
but they're able to impregnate the fibers with this non-Newtonium fluid. Yeah, Dyneema is the other fiber I'm thinking of, but it's some proprietary formula of non-Newtonium fluid that they're able to impregnate into these fibers, and this shit is slick. I mean, it'll stop an arrow and a knife, and anything that would normally go right through traditional Kevlar. It stops it because of that property. And they're shooting rifle rounds, pistol rounds, arrows, and it's stopping everything. Of course, right now I want to say
Well, I
it's
remember seeing stuff like that on like Modern Marvels or something.
yeah, exactly that.
But that was like 10 years ago.
This is I don't know. This is more recent, but I haven't really seen it hit the market. I don't know if it's just a price thing or if the I don't know. I need to do some more
Well,
research
you
on
can
it.
get gloves and knee pads and stuff that have it, and I've seen the knee pads, but I don't think they're ballistic. They work for knee pads so that you can bend your knee and they're fairly comfortable. And then when you actually hit the ground with your knee, it becomes a pad there. It becomes some sort of protection against like the gravel or something you might be kneeling in. But I don't think they were strong enough to be bulletproof.
Yeah, this stuff I saw was definitely bulletproof. They were definitely shooting rounds at it. I'll have to see if I can find it because that seemed like the new evolution of body armor. But at the time, I think that it was cost prohibitive for any mass distribution to military or law enforcement or anything like that, um, because I guess the technology was so new or so cutting edge that uh, the cost was just overwhelming.
Let's talk about
Yep.
G Webb's notes here. Okay, so the kid's body armor, i.e., the backpack shield.
Well, that's not what I had in there, but go ahead.
No, it's over on the side chat. It says for kids in car with gear, cost.
Yeah, I don't consider that backpack thing a legit thing, but I
Oh,
would say
that's
that's a
what I was
reason to
thinking.
own. Well, I know, but I'm just saying I put it in there because I would think if you are going to buy armor, that's a legitimate reason to have armor. Would be so that if something does go on, your kids just put armor on right away.
Well, that's another good thing. Not even necessarily to have a kid in a plate carrier, but that brought me something else I just thought of. That's been debuted on a few YouTube channels here recently. Was the shield, which is basically a ballistic shield, to be able to, like opening up a front door. I know Jaeger did one. There was another channel where they show a guy kind of cracking his front door just a little bit with the shield, that's strapped to his arm. And it's a pretty, it's not a very cumbersome shield. It's not, it's not a huge like riot shield like you think of. It's a, probably a 24 by 24 square shield.
It's the size of a desk calendar.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good reference. So,
That's because I got one with a desk calendar on it.
nice.
So
Well,
you
that
keep
would
it
be
in your
cool.
office. Well, no, so you can keep it in your office. And it's a desk calendar, and then if there's an emergency, you pick it up, and on the bottom side it has the arm thing to hold it up. So you actually pick it up, and the shield is on top of your desk calendar, so you can keep it in your office, and nobody knows you have a ballistic shield with you.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic,
And it's basically, it's not the same thing, but think about a very thick piece of Lexan bulletproof plastic you can buy at your local hardware store.
Lexan, yeah, or
Yeah,
Lexan, however you say it.
it's not clear. It's not Lexan, but I guarantee you it's something similar because it's white. Whenever they took it out of the black holder thing.
Right, the little nylon sheath or whatever can cover. Something like that's cool for, especially like you said, for kids in a car. A car would be a perfect place to have a shield like that stashed or stowed. You could put that shield against the car door on the inside and have your kids kneel behind, crouch down behind that shield. So not only do you have the car door, then you got the shield right there. That'd be pretty neat.
Plus, if you keep one at work in case there's ever something happens at work, nobody's going to fire you over a desk calendar because most people won't know it's there. And if somebody figured it out, picked it up and went, "Oh, there's a ballistic shield," just be like, all you'd have to do is say, "I have a phobia about a workplace violence," and they couldn't do anything because you'd be protected by federal law.
Well, hell, schools, I think, teachers have them, on their desk, or, get all the kids in a corner, and then, you sit in front of them, hunkered down behind that shield. I think that, fantastic option.
Well, at least if you held the door and had it against the door between you and the door,
Right.
Any shots through the door would be stopped. If they hit the shield, of course. And then
An interesting concept, for sure.
well, the other thing that I've seen that I don't really care for is the shield that goes inside the backpack. It's the shape of the backpack. You buy a special backpack and it has a shield in it, so that when the mass shooter comes into the school, your kid who's not wearing his backpack, but let's say he was, has his backpack on and runs away. And I'm just sitting there going, let's just tell him to make sure you keep at least 2 textbooks in the backpack.
No shit. I'm kid you not.
I'm just thinking a
Dude, not
3A protection is a textbook or 2.
Not even. I mean, and that's one thing at the beginning of the chat when you said that because I did a video. It's on my channel. If you guys want to go back and look at it, it's I don't remember what I titled it. It's 9mm versus book or something like that. But I did a video where I shot several different types of 9mm at a. And these were magazines. These weren't even hardcover books. They were just like catalog magazines, and I think it was about a
Okay.
1.5 inch catalog. It didn't even go through one. I mean, it's amazing. I was shocked, really. I thought it would at least burn through one or two, but one catalog stopped a 9 millimeter at 10 feet. So that, like you said, that's nothing to scoff at when you consider a kid that's got 4 or 5 textbooks. There's no way. I mean, I would venture to say even a rifle round would have a hard time getting through something like that.
Yeah, phone books are a good one too.
Yep. The cheap way to armor your car. I learned that on Burn Notice.
Yeah, I think they did that on Mythbusters or something too.
Yeah. And the added benefit behind like books, like you're talking about, that sort of media, is that that also offers inherent protection against stabbing and punctures and stuff. Whereas even a lot of the soft armor will not stop a blade.
I'm pretty sure that the youth that is running around now is also allergic to books, especially the criminal types. They don't want to be anywhere near them.
Yep.
Well, Geobs, what did you have in mind with those little footnotes you put up there in the chat? Do you want to hit on any of those, or?
Well, like I say, I think that you don't need necessarily to put armor at the beginning of a list. I just don't think it's that big a deal for the cost of it. And then, so I was thinking of reasons why people might want it. And like I was saying, if you're gonna, I would think you'd want to armor up your kids. But as far as the car, most armor is going to degrade in the car. I guess unless you want to put that metal stuff in there, because nothing's going to happen to metal really. It might rust. But then you're driving around with metal in your car. And then we're talking about armor, but I guess we're talking about plates. Are we talking about carriers that are going to carry your ammo and stuff right away? Or are you going to somehow wear a chest rig on top of that armor carrier? Or, there's things to consider when you move to wearing armor. You go from how you can normally train at maybe the normal shooting hole or the range or wherever it is you train. It might be hard enough for you to wear a chest rig, but now you're going to wear armor, like seriously. And then shooting is different with armor. You have to shoot in different stances if you want to take advantage of your armor. And again, you're going to change all your shooting styles so that when you're wearing armor, you're familiar with that, or are you really going to seriously train in armor and when you're not wearing armor so that you are comfortable both ways? And once you do get all that up training and get your gear all upgraded so that you can deal with armor once it expires or gets ruined or whatever, you're down with replacing it. So I think there's a lot of cost to armor that are hidden when you look at just the numbers. It just becomes like, oh yeah, let's grab some, and then you're just basically throwing whatever $200 away. You guys are talking about $100 carriers. Again, you're talking about the heaviest plates and then the least expensive carriers. I would think you'd want to be looking at the most expensive carriers at that point. Something made in the U.S. with quadruple stitching, and you're probably going to pay more than $100 for something like that.
Well, and it depends on what your goal is with it and everything. Because, for instance, I have a lockbox in the back of my car, and I keep the heavy plate locked up back there basically for emergencies. I never wear the stuff, but again, I have run around and I've practiced in it. And whenever I go play airsoft, I'm not wearing the armor, but I'm wearing the same chest rig, a different chest rig, but the same cumbersome equipment with lots of magazines and the same weight overall as the chest armor. Basically, instead of wearing all the mags and the water carrier on my back, I'm wearing armor with just the plate carrier and the armor. So I run around in the same weight and cumbersome gear and shot people with, airsoft rifles. It's not that much different.
It is different though when that weight
It
of gear
is.
is made into a stiff board that's 12 inches by however many inches.
It's a
Well,
little
here's-
bit. It hurts your arms when you pull over like this too much, or your stance. It hits the inside of your biceps and stuff. But besides that, I mean,
When you're climbing stuff, jumping over stuff, or falling, rolling down hills.
yeah, I don't do any of that.
Drive with it for a while.
Nathan
I,
never falls
I,
down. Nathan never climbs anything.
I walk and shoot. People are like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, people are always like, oh, you play airsoft, blah blah blah. Do you run? I'm like, no, we don't run. We walk everywhere we go, and we shoot people, and we win. But we work as a team and stuff. But anyway,
Every time a firearm is unexpectedly discharged around me, I've ran. Every single time.
nah, I can see that. I mean, you can. That's another thing is people understand when you have that much weight on you, you don't exactly run. You kind of jog without bouncing. It's the best way I could describe it.
I will tell you flat out,
Speed walk.
you will not. Yeah, I was going to say you are not going to run anywhere unless something explodes for real, and then you will fly.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it all comes down to training and conditioning. To me, I don't find it any different than strapping a 20-pound backpack when you put on your back for a day hike, and go walking through the woods versus, a 10-pound rig of AR plate that could potentially save your life. I think that's well worth the inconvenience and potential cumbersome and maneuverability and different things like that.
Oh, absolutely, and that would be a thing I would say too. Is if you're adamant about adding armor to your kit, then you need to make exercise a part of you need to allow for that side of it too. There's a reason why when we were preparing to deploy, we started doing PT in armor and in protective masks for oxygen deprivation and to adjust ourselves for that additional weight.
That's a good point. The armor's designed for like 18-year-old dudes that are in shape.
Yeah.
That's who it's designed to be hung on. So all of us are at a disadvantage immediately because we're all old and falling apart.
Well, yeah, I will
Speak for
totally
yourself.
agree. I will totally agree with the G-Webs on that because when I strap the stuff on and go run around playing airsoft and stuff, that's one of the reasons, like I and the other guys who mostly are all old and out of shape too, we strap on all the gear and all the equipment, but we've got it all cinched up to us. Like the problem is like half the time we put the gear on, we have to help each other in like old ladies. They're like, can you get my girdle back here and snap that for me because I can't reach over my gut to snap it in myself like a young person would. But again, it's if you're not running or anything, it is manageable to wear for a couple of hours at a time without physically harming yourself or you'll be tired as hell when you're done, but you can operate for a few hours in it. And then, as you get into shape more and more, let's say, it would take you a couple weeks to get to what I consider to be a patrolman, where you could wear the 20 plus pounds of armor and ammo and then a rifle on top of it. Now you're up to 30, 40 pounds. But the human body will adapt over time to the extra weight and everything. It's just you got to know how to use it and actually practicing it ahead of time if you want to be able to run around in it. You want me to model it?
Say again?
Watch
Yeah,
I'll talk for
yeah.
a minute and I'll put it on. You can see what it looks like.
There you go. All right, so while I wait on that, I think we've done this pretty good justice for a topic. But another thing I kind of wanted to throw in here, it's a little way off, well not way off topic, but kind of goes along the lines of being prepared and to some extent. But what do you think, or what's your take, or on slings on your rifles? to me, I feel like every rifle should have a sling on it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you buy holsters for your handguns, don't you?
Yeah.
How I look at it.
Any differing of opinion on that one?
I'm a little split on it. When I was coming up in the Army, it was basically, Pogues use Pogues would use slings, but your infantry guys, like, they'd go out in the field. They didn't have a sling on their rifles a lot of times because it was in your hands. It was meant to be, it was meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be in your hands, and so that's where it does its most good.
I am pro sling because you can't hold on to it all the time. You need your hands for the stuff once in a while.
All right. Well, cool. Yeah. I didn't figure we'd have too much.
Let me see if I can get away from the camera here enough to actually show it. So yeah, so this is 27 pounds. Front
See,
back.
that's a heavy ass rig, dude.
Yeah, it is. But once you get it on and you have it all cinched up tight like this, you can jump up and down in it. You can move side to side. Can aim. See, it's got the shooter's cut on it.
Is that your ceramic or is that your steel?
Steel on the side, ceramic on the front and back. But it's 27 pounds total. I just weighed it a minute ago. But yeah, I mean, like, you get out of breath really fast in it because it's extra weight, but still, I don't have any trouble, positioning, moving in it. So, I mean, yeah, it's something to get used to, but I mean, it's with the shooter's cut, it's not that bad. Let me see if I can. I have to take it off to show you the plates.
So how much, if you don't mind, do you have invested in that setup?
Oh, man, I don't remember exactly. It's probably about $300.
Well, that's not
Okay,
bad
so
at all.
Here's the old AR plates. These are Ar500. They're slightly curved, the side plates. Just nice hunks of steel. But I couldn't find any side plates that were under like $150, and I wouldn't pay that much for it because I didn't pay that much. They're more expensive than the ceramic ones I bought. Okay, so here's one of the ceramic plates. You can see it covers the chest area, but it's cut and curved. Look at how thick that thing is, though. That's a thick plate. That's a lot thicker than the AR plate.
Yeah, that's now, or I must have missed it before. Are those what level are those? Are those 3s or
Fours.
standalone 4s? Okay, are those standalone 4s or?
Yes, they're front.
Okay.
They're front and back standalone 4s. That's why they're heavy.
Yep. Me personally, you know what? If I was going to buy armor, that's exactly what I would get. Nothing less than standalone 4s, because you can throw them in anything, and you're going to get your protection out of it.
Now, on the flip side of all this, because we hadn't really discussed it, but before I bought all that, I had bought my good old 3A soft body armor. I got this from, I think, Body Armor Outlet. This is probably 5 years ago I got this. But it mainly, I've actually worn this out in public underneath my shirt and stuff. I had a situation where at work where we had a threat credible enough that they put a security guard out in front of my work for 2 weeks. And basically the kind of the lunatic who had a beef with us he never showed up or anything, but I wore this for 2 weeks because I figured if he came in, I could run for the back emergency exit and take one or two in the back and get out. You know, not very heroic, but I couldn't have a gun in there, so it's like, and he was mad at my boss and me, the two of us, but no one else. So I was kind of like, okay, more than likely, I'm the one he's going to see first. I take off, and of course he'd have to get to the security guard too. But it's just one of those situations where I wore this all day for 2 weeks underneath a dress shirt. Nobody at my work ever knew. I kept expecting somebody to catch on, be like, "Hey, you look like you're fatter or something."
Yeah, you look like you've gained weight.
Yeah, you look like you gained weight, because literally it adds an inch to the front of you and the back of you. I mean, it makes you look like you've gained 20 pounds. But no one ever said anything or even caught on. So anyway, but this is nice to have if you need to wear something all day long. Soft body armor is the way to go. That hard plate is for, I know I'm walking into a bad situation. So it's different levels.
Yeah,
I would wear
there's a reason why.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say there's a reason why soldiers overseas carry plates. It's because we are going into combat. Chances are you're not going to need that sort of stuff over here. You know what? Like, they're astronomically against you that you would need that kind of protection here.
Well, like a cop who knew he was going to be doing entry or SWAT.
Right.
Those guys.
Same ideas, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, me, I'm probably never going to need it. But I'm like, hey, I'm already at the point where I own lots of firearms. I already bought my gun safe. I've already got a couple night vision optics. So it's kind of like I'm at the point where these are just added on things into my armory per se. But again, here's something for those watching. Okay, who here knows how far a bullet, when it hits me, can dent me in and not kill me? Okay, if anyone has a...
Oh, you're saying, well, it depends. I mean, you got to take into consideration the hydrostatic shock that could rupture arteries and...
Okay, I'm just saying the standard that was determined is 0.44 millimeters can be dented into the human body and you'll still live. That is about the size of a 223 case. So take a 223 case next time you're at the range or have one around and look at it, put it up against your chest, dead center, and realize that's how far I can get dented in by a 44 mag hitting me in my 3A armor. And I'll still be alive, but I won't be happy. A lot of people think it's like the movies where you get hit in the 3A soft armor and you just get up. No, it's the equivalent of being hit with a sledgehammer as far as a dent into your body.
Yeah,
it's maybe not
literally the equivalent.
Not a heavy hammer.
I was going to say a heavy hammer or like a baseball bat.
Yeah, even a baseball bat is going to be spaced out over much more area because I've seen a video where they actually had the clay molding, where they had the body armor against the clay, shot it, and left the dent in the clay. Then they took a baseball bat, hit the clay as hard as they could, and the bullet hole was like twice as deep as the baseball dent. Again, that the armor left. You know what I'm saying? Like they hit the bat with no armor on it, just into the clay, and it didn't go very deep because it was dispersed over a much larger area.
Right. That
but again, people need to realize that with the soft body armor, that's protection for when you get hit. You still would have to be conditioned to where it's kind of like, how tough a guy am I if somebody walked up and punched me in my face? Would I take the punch and be able to fight, or would I be on the ground crying? I don't know. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I think that's a good point to end it up. We had a good chat there. Hopefully you learned something, or if not, you just wasted an hour of your life. But either way, I appreciate you watching. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think we'll close it out here, and If anybody wants to continue chatting, I'm sure there'll be an open forum on gunchannels.com. Gun Websites is running a 24-hour lobby chat, so for everybody that's interested, go over there and check that out. So we'll see you next time.